and was like, hey, you can hop on this one. And we're like, okay, cool. So we did because, we wanted to show. We did not fit on it at all. I think it was like
there was a noise band that had mostly a stage setup of lamps and retro TVs. They were playing Dinosaur on one of the little tiny TVs during their set. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, they were pretty cool.
Welcome to the 187th episode of the Cast That Ends Creation. I'm your host, Chris Deering. This is the show where I interview bands and public figures from the Mathcore adjacent community. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, do all the things social. Every little bit helps. And feel free to join us every Sunday and Wednesday for the live cast where you can interact with the guests in real time or just hang out in the chat. You can also subscribe to this channel for just $5 to get access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming platforms. Or you can also get some exclusive emotes. You can do it for free by attaching Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. It's like taking $5 from Jeff Bezos' pocket and putting it into mine. With that out of the way, let me introduce my guest today who dropped their new album, Strobe Light Shadowplay, back in November through Zegman Beach Records. Welcome in Lower Automation. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. So yeah, you want to start off with telling us who you are, what you do in the band?
I'm Derek. I play guitar and make noises with my mouth.
I'm Andy. I hit drums and try my best to not make noises with my mouth while I do it.
Is that an issue? Like just during recording, you'll just like start making noises
really loud.
Yeah, I was like, fuck.
So y'all actually returning guest. Had you back here September 21. So a year and a half pretty much since we last talked. What have y'all been doing besides working on the album?
Working, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Working, I don't know. Pretty normal stuff.
Busy. We're all very busy, but we definitely rehearse a bunch and I don't know. Derek's been working on some newer stuff in the meantime, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, didn't you have the that solo project?
Yeah, I'm always working on stuff. 99% of stuff I make never gets released.
So what would you say you've done differently this time around than on the self-titled album? Like musically, I guess.
I think this one's a little more like maybe frantic or like I don't know. It sounds like something. It sounds a little more. People have told me it sounds like we were going through something when we made it, like a little more depressed, maybe, a little darker, maybe.
Andy, what do you think?
That was kind of my thoughts.
So I feel like the one before, the self-titled, was pretty dark because we had songs like Ruiner and stuff like that. Like there was some like pretty like dark vibes. This one I feel like is a lot more just like bright, but like chaotic. Like kind of crazy. Like a lot of stuff going on, and like I think there's a few songs that like are dynamically pretty cool. Like Information Entrepreneurs, like we took like recording textures and fucked with it a little bit, and it was I don't know. Like I think less dark, but more like kind of creatively crazy.
That's pretty much exactly how I was going to describe this stuff. I feel like y'all kind of went along the same route as like the Callous Dow Boys, where they had kind of a little bit more structure on Die on Mars or whatever, but whenever they got to their newest one, it's just like everything's pretty crazy and experimental, widening barriers and stuff like that. Not necessarily like crazy just to be crazy, but like, I don't know, just pushing like what the sound could be. You know what I mean? Like it's still the like noise rock stuff you were doing before, but just push a little further. Especially things like the weirder aspects, like where was it? On 45th and Amelia, you have the backing vocals, just like I guess a chorus of you, Derek. I'm not sure, just saying "ooh" in the background or whatever. I thought that was fucking tight. Stuff like that's really cool.
Thank you.
And heel marks. I was wondering like, what do you do during that silence live? Because you have like a large section where y'all just don't do shit in the song. So how does that work out live even?
I think we're still kind of figuring it out.
It's different all the time. I mean, it's mostly just feedback. What's the silent part? Actually, there's like this din kind of sound, like a high pitch. My initial thing was thinking of like like when your ears ring after like a really loud sound, you know what I mean? There's like this like impact, and then it kind of everything kind of fades out. It's silent, but there's this like little ring.
Okay.
To me, it
That
feels
was
like pressure. To me, it feels
Yeah.
like pressure in my head. I'm like, whoa.
No, it's
That
definitely
was kind of
tight.
like the intent there.
And then you got like fucking trombone on it and stuff too. Actually makes me wonder like what do y'all feel about like adding like a synthesizer to like your band or whatever, like a keys player or something? Because it kind of feels like that's like the role that like the trombone's playing. And I guess the like the silent part or whatever with the frequency, like that would be really good with like a synth or something.
For sure. We just don't have room in the van.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to have a synth player. We've definitely talked about that. And that might be something that happens more in the future, but there's a lot of synth stuff on this album.
And the last one too.
There was some on the last two,
Yeah.
yeah. This one I feel like almost every song has, I could be wrong about that, but there's a lot.
Okay.
It's just used kind of sparingly, and it's kind of in the back.
Yeah, it never like was a forefront thing that I noticed at least. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting to know that it was there.
Yeah, and I might be lying about that. It might not be as much as I thought. Well, maybe it's not, because we had initially planned for there to be synth like all over the album, and then that just didn't happen for whatever reason. Like I actually like made a lot of synth stuff for it, and then it just didn't work.
I gotcha. I guess you could like just do a backing track that's a bunch of synth stuff too if you wanted to add some stuff to it.
Yeah, some tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that too.
So yeah, what genre are you calling yourselves at this point? There was been a couple different ones you had up on your Bandcamp.
I would either call it like math punk or experimental punk. Probably experimental punk would be my kind of go-to.
Yeah. I mean, when I describe it, I feel like the most identifying thing I can say is math punk, because I wouldn't call it math core, but we have an association with like that scene more than anything, I think. So I think that's my go-to. But yeah, definitely experimental.
I like math punk a lot. That's tight.
Yeah.
Y'all should do like your next album, call it math punk, and like try to start a whole genre.
Yeah.
The shape of math punk to come.
Yeah.
Volume 2.
So we've talked about how your music's evolved since the last album. How have your influences evolved since then? What are you currently being?
For this album,
For this album,
for this album. Like, well, when I started making the demos, like for me, I was listening to a ton of this German band, Einstürzende Neubauten, which is like one of my favorite bands, and their first like I think 3 albums are like I think some of the best albums of all time.
How would you describe it?
It's sort of, I guess people might call it like industrial, but there's not a whole lot of like technology on it. Like there's a lot of like handmade instruments, a lot of like metallic drums. It feels super freeform, but it's composed. Which is like some of my favorite things about music, where it's like you think it's like people just making noise, and then all of a sudden they stop at the same time or start something at the same time. You know what I mean? Where like there's like no way it could have been improvised.
I got you.
That's kind of my favorite stuff. But yeah, that was a huge influence on this album. And then also like some of the earlier Depeche Mode albums, I think were a really big influence, and like Sisters of Mercy. So a lot of like older, like maybe kind of goth influences.
That's interesting, because I would not call your stuff goth like at all.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, I'm not really interested in playing goth music, but I love listening to it. So I mean,
well,
like,
what do you think you like picked up from that music then that translates into Lower Automation?
I think some of like the vocal melodies, maybe a little bit.
Okay.
Because there are like on a song like Lobby, that I think is definitely very influenced by some of that like goth kind of stuff. Like specifically the singing style, and there actually is like a synth pad, like an 80s synth pad in the first verse of that song. So like that came in a little bit. I think for as far as like the Einstürzende Neubauten influence, that I think comes through in like in a song like Genuflect, where it sort of sounds like the intro part of it sort of sounds improvised. It's not at all. It's very composed, but it was composed in a way that to make it sound like it's improvised, but then it has stops and starts, if that makes sense. Like
Okay.
we're all playing a rhythm, but it's just
It's like a band moment in Rock Band. It's like we all hit it the same, and like we do it like a few times. We definitely know what we're doing. It's like it's not improvised, but it sounds like nuts, which is cool.
And also like noisier. Like there's a lot of like a lot of the guitar parts, especially in a song like Genuflect, in that intro part, were sort of improvised, but it was like with very specific guidelines and like very specific start and stop points.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of mostly what was pulled from that stuff.
Okay. I will say the intro to the album was very jarring. Like I don't know, it's almost like it was already recorded and you just played it over multiple times. Is that?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it
It's
was.
like a disc skip. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we just recorded it straight through and then did like a little skip thing at the beginning of it.
Okay. I didn't know if like y'all were actually playing that because it totally sounds like the audio just cuts off. So okay,
Yeah.
It was gotcha.
That actually happened because I was in the car and I was listening to the demos, and that one came on, and it actually it stuttered like that. Like for whatever, like I think we use like SoundCloud for our demos. And so I pulled it up and I was listening to that, and it did like a dun 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 dun, dun thing like that. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And so we put it in there.
I like all the experimentation y'all had taken on this time around. Last time, I'm sure it existed, but it didn't seem like it was like y'all were trying as many different things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that one was more like focused on like the energy, like keeping it consistent, like hyped up kind of feeling, or yeah, if that makes sense. I think on this one there was I think on this one there's a little more like, let's have a quiet part or something like that. Like let's have a slower part, or I think you're right. Like we just wanted to try a few different things that we might not have done before.
I love your stuff because like y'all seem to be doing things that no other band really is, at least that I know about. So I appreciate y'all trying to like push it and see how far you can take.
No, thank you. It's a lot of fun to do.
Hell yeah.
Stressful, but sometimes, yeah.
So Andy, what were your influences for the album in terms of drumming and stuff?
I think with what Derek sent me, I was like, okay, I'm thinking like Hella. I'm thinking like anything that Zach Hill does, like just like the most chaotic drummers that I know, and just like the fat sounds that they make while they can still like hold a groove with what they're doing, like Lightning Bolt too. I was like, man, like, I don't know. Derek wrote a lot of the drum parts, and it was just kind of mostly me figuring out how I could like make that work, and then also putting like some of my own swing on some of it. So I was working mostly with the Derek's influence, I guess, but like with what I was contributing and like the style I was trying to go for, like definitely something like Zach Hill, like a lot of accented and also like really kind of crazy frenetic stuff going on.
Nice. Taking what I assume is more of like a basic beat that Derek would put on or whatever, and you make it like have more flair and stuff. Then.
Oh, sometimes they'd be a little bit more complicated than I could do.
Really? Okay.
Well,
okay.
I'm not exactly sure what a drummer can and can't do because I'm not one. So, like over the years, I've kind of figured out like, okay, well, I don't think they could do this. Like, there's no way they could get that quickly to a different drum. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell Andy like, this is kind of the vibe we're going for, but that might not be possible, and that's okay. Like, yeah,
okay,
because I don't really know what I'm doing.
But yeah, no, it's rad. No, I vibed with it a lot. Yeah, it's pretty much. I can't remember. I think there was the one breakdown in Guzzler that was throwing all of us that we had to change last minute. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was a
Just wanted to shout out in the chat. Chonks Barkley says the new album is dope.
oh thanks, Chunks Barkley.
Awesome name, by the way.
It's
Yeah.
Caleb from Sterling.
Oh, sick. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So, how long did it take you guys to like get this stuff recorded? Like, have you been sitting on it for a long time? Just tell us a little bit about the recording process.
I feel like we gave ourselves more time before we recorded, right, Andy? Like, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there wasn't as much of a rush to like, this is when we're going to start. And then, so I think we played some of the demos for like 3-ish months. And then we're like, I think that was last February actually. And then we decided we were going to record at the end of May. So then we gave ourselves another 3 months to kind of go over everything.
hmm
So we definitely had more time. As far as recording, we didn't go to a cabin this time around. So we didn't have like the,
like 5-day time crunch kind of deal.
yeah. So we kind of did it separate. Like we, one of our friends, Nick Cartwright, who plays in the band Virgin Mother with Seb from Meth.
Oh, nice.
They let us use their space, which I think they moved from now, but we
Oh,
rented it
no.
out for like 3 days.
I want to go back there.
Yeah, it was awesome. They have a ton of really nice mics, and so we were able to track drums there for a weekend, and then the next weekend we did bass, and that was a long weekend, so we did bass and guitar that weekend. And then I actually did vocals right here in my apartment, and no one complained, so I figured I got away with it.
Do you like go in
But
a
yeah, it was
closet
like-
or
it was like
anything,
a-
or you do it out in the middle of the room?
I just do it right here. I mean, I have like,
Oh, you do have a lot of noise.
yeah, I
suppressing
have a
stuff
lot of
on.
like baffling stuff, and I don't know. I mean, like I've heard my neighbors fight, so I'm sure they could hear me. But yeah, no one said anything. So
Nice. It seems like that's a pretty quick turnaround from the last album, though. Like, you're already recording 10 months after the last one dropped.
yeah, but we sat on that one for like a year.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So yeah, because that was really going to come out like 8-ish months before it did, or something like that.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And then when we got hooked up with Zegama Beach, they wanted to put out vinyl, so then we like delayed everything. Yeah, so it came out really like that one took a while, and then this one we weren't expecting to have the vinyl until like the spring, so we were able to release it like way quicker.
It did kind of seem like it just like popped out of nowhere. I wasn't even aware that y'all were like dropping anything until like I think maybe a month beforehand I had seen something. But yeah, I wasn't really sure y'all were even like dropping things.
Yeah, I remember it happened way quicker than we were expecting. That was like
Yeah.
crazy. We were like, wait, vinyl's taking like up to a year for some people to come out, and then like we get this deal for like how many months did they say?
I don't
like,
even think it was 3.
2-3 months. Yeah. That was nuts.
It's like 6 weeks or something. Yeah.
So did y'all do any singles or anything like that? Seemed like y'all didn't do any music videos, right? So
We have one in the works.
Mhm.
We did we did a couple singles like through like Heavy Blog and Brooklyn Vegan.
okay.
Mhm.
There's one other one, but I don't remember what that one was through.
Yeah, those are all exclusives, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. So I think that the lyrics are beautiful, but just like all metaphor-based lyrics, I suck at figuring out what they're supposed to mean. So, how would you describe the lyrics?
Well, thank you first off. I appreciate it. A lot of times I end up putting more time in the lyrics than the music. They just take me longer to write. So a lot of it is like, I guess, sort of like a stepping off point from the last one. It's like stuff that I didn't want to look at before, but all of a sudden is like coming at me as I'm getting older, and like things that I need to unpack. So there's a lot of like, internalized anger that I'm like, for some reason I didn't know I was holding on to. And then all of a sudden it happens, and I'm getting these panic attacks and like depressive episodes. And yeah, so I just started writing about that, or like journaling about that, and that's how a lot of these came about. But there's a lot of like there's it's probably like half that and half like political.
Mm.
So like the first two songs are like super political.
Yeah, I like the first name. I was like, oh, okay, this is something I'm gonna be able to get behind.
Yeah, that's actually a T-shirt I've seen. Um,
Okay.
someone wore that to an NRA conference or something. Like seriously,
That's
as
sick.
yeah, is horrifying that someone actually yeah.
That doesn't surprise me at all, but I find that shit hilarious. But,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just sad, but I mean it is funny. So the second one is all about are you familiar with the Mars Hill Church?
No.
They were like this, I mean I would call it a cult, but this like church out in like I think the Pacific Northwest. And do you know the band Thrice?
Yeah.
The singer from Thrice used to work for them. I think he was like a worship director or something.
Okay.
And he left when all this came out because like the guy who started the church, the preacher, his name was Mark Driscoll, and he has, I fucking hate that guy. What an evil piece of shit. Excuse me. Terrible human being. And just did a bunch of really shady shit. And there's actually this really great podcast about it. I think it's called The Rise and Fall of Mars Hill.
Mm.
And so that song is actually really influenced by him and like mega churches in general. Because for some reason, I don't know why, but like YouTube recommends all this like mega church stuff to me, keep seeing it on Netflix and like whatever. So I feel like I was just like constantly inundated with like mega church information, and
Yeah.
I was very pissed off. So that's
Now,
kind of
you do one like search on YouTube and it just thinks that's all that you want to see.
right?
I
Yeah.
understand.
So that was that's kind of where that one came from.
Okay. Shout out to Don't Stress Flower Press. Thanks for the gifted. You were awesome. But you said the rest of it's like all about strife in your own life or whatever, like on personal issues and stuff.
Yeah, I think yeah, not all of it. Like the title track is also very political. I suppose Genuflect and Comparator are so actually maybe more than half is all political,
Okay.
like social kind of stuff. But yeah, I think it's more of like an emotional take on that, and like sort of dealing with the anger that causes, or like the frustration or the panic attacks I get because of it, things like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to like some of them I have to think about too, because I can't remember all of them right now. But yeah, most of them are, I guess, political now.
Okay. So you did the mixing and stuff again. Derek did the mixing stuff. You did the mixing on the last one too, right?
Yeah.
This one's better. You got more of a bass presence and stuff in this one. It feels thicker and more substantial, I guess. Not that the last one was thin, like not that it like sounded thin when you listen to it, but comparing that one to this one sounds heavier, I guess. Like not heavier, more substantial. Like I said before, yeah.
I think actually a lot of that came down to, one, recording drums and like with nicer stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and having done it with Andy before. Not that Andy played bad on the last album, but he played better on this one. Like,
yeah, yeah, I'd say that.
like, yeah, I think we all did. And
well, it's also
Brian
like the bass guitar. Like you can really hear
that's
that
what I
a
was
lot
gonna-
more on this album.
Brian got a new amp like a few months before we recorded this, and it's like way better than his old one. And so when I was mixing it, I was like finding that the bass just like worked, and I didn't have to like chop it up or like EQ it all crazy and stuff. So I think a big part of that is, yeah, the nicer drum mics in the room that we could use, and then also like the new bass amp was a huge difference because we mic'd it like the exact same way.
Yeah, that's sick. Is your guitar tone and everything the same as before? Or You work
Oh,
on any of that
actually,
stuff?
I was running through a 212 on this one. So on the last album we used, it was like a Marshall JCM 800 half stack,
Okay.
and then this is the JCM 800 through an Atlas 212.
Okay. I guess you
Can't
like this one
remember.
better than the last one, or
Yeah. For 212s always like, I don't know, they just sit really well. And I'm not doing like, chuggy stuff anyway, so like I don't need all that bass
right?
from a 412. Yeah, this amp, or I mean, this cab is like way tighter and punchier sounding than my Marshall. That Marshall cab is like crazy old. Each of the speakers sounds like radically different. Some of them are like really quiet. I don't think it's like functioning.
Gotcha. It's falling apart.
Yeah, it's been through some shit. So
Also, like transporting the shows and stuff is gonna be way easier now that you have a 212 instead of a 412.
yeah, Brian and I are both using like smaller orange heads too.
Nice.
So I'm not carrying around this huge like flight case anymore.
Okay.
I need to
Uh,
get
Yeah,
one of
that's actually
the drum kits now. One of the
Uh,
tiny like things, like a 10-inch.
right. Get like a mini drum kit. Chonks Barkley says that the push and the mids are awesome in 212.
I would agree.
Uh,
Yeah,
so
it's like a tighter sound.
this was then mastered by Colin Jordan at the Boiler Room. Not sure who that is. Is that the guy from Meth that you were talking about? Or not Meth, the other one.
No, this is
Virgin Mother or
the
whatever?
no. This guy's actually like he's a mastering engineer, so he
Oh,
just does
okay.
master. He did our last one. Actually, he's done everything we've put out.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He's in Chicago, and he's done a ton of different stuff. But yeah, he's really great. Super
Nice.
easy to work with.
Then we have the artwork. Who did the art? Album cover. We've got it up on the screen too, by the way.
Yeah. The art is his name is Artie and W. I don't remember how to pronounce his last name. He goes by Self-Inflatable on Instagram. He was recommended to us from the band Life in Vacuum. They're this Toronto, like, I don't know, Andy, what would you call that? What genre?
I'd call them like, it's kind of like Mets, but like a little more poppy, just like the alt kind of hard rock that's happening in Toronto, I guess, right now. They're a little technical. They got some like mixed meters and stuff, but I guess
They're really
that's,
sick.
yeah, they're really cool. They're one of my favorite bands right now.
They're and like super nice people too.
Mm-hmm.
Artie had done like a few of their last covers. And so when Life in Vacuum recommended him to us because we were looking for an artist, I looked on his Instagram page and I was like, oh shit, this guy's amazing. And then sent it. And that was the first person that the three of us were like, oh yeah, this is great. That we all like totally agreed on. And then we were really psyched when he agreed to do it. But we gave him like no direction. He just kind of did his thing.
Okay. It
Yeah,
looks
so it
like
was-
hands kind of sticking up with lights behind them. Is there like
Yeah.
a vision, I guess, that I'm missing, or how would you describe what's happening?
I mean, I think he was playing off of the idea of like a shadow play.
Okay.
So I think he was literally just going off the title.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, like literally lights and shadow play. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He also did a new logo for you guys, it looks like.
Yeah. He's really great at typography. And doing like really weird things with with type fonts and stuff. I definitely recommend checking out his stuff. Some of it's like just words, but like the way that he does, it's just really cool.
Is this like
I
a
was,
logo that y'all are going to be using in the future, or is this just like a one-time thing? You sticking with the more, I guess, screamo looking one, or
Yeah, that one's easier to use because it's like a circle, or like it fits in a square space.
Right.
Nice. This one is longer. So I don't know. I mean, it depends whatever we do next, whatever the art looks like.
Yeah, I like the I don't even know how you would describe it. I guess the Screamo one or whatever. I like that one a lot more. I actually have a shirt, the purple and the pink ones or whatever, that I think are fucking dope, and that logo looks perfect on them. I keep.
I do like that logo. I like that one too.
That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite shirts.
No, it's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
It's dope, dude. I saw we played what do you call it, Mathcore Index Fest together, and
Yeah.
I was trying to get that shirt from you in pink, but you didn't have it in XL. Then I go home. I go to the spot that we're staying at for the night, and the guy that's keeping us has the fucking pink shirt in XL with the logo on. I guess he got the last one or whatever. Like, you son of a bitch! Like taking the last one. So yeah, next time we see each other, I gotta get one of those.
Yeah, for sure.
Red.
So anything else about the recording process you wanted to go over? Or?
I don't
yeah,
know.
you got anything?
Oh, I guess it was the artwork we were just talking about. I'm an idiot. Sorry. You were saying that you were working on a music video. Can you give us any kind of like hints as to what it's gonna look like?
It's a lot of shadows and lights so far.
That's a pretty good way to put it. Yeah, I mean, we gave him. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's all I was saying. You're good.
We don't really know yet. So the guy that does our videos, is again someone that like we trust a lot, and we're just like, here's some stuff, do whatever you want with it. And he always does really cool stuff. So he had this idea and wanted us to film like a couple like sort of playthroughs of different parts with different lighting and stuff. And so we did that one night at practice, and then yeah, he's doing the rest. So we're still not exactly, we still haven't seen much.
Okay. You're just doing the one music video then?
That's all we have plans for right now. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, you guys did Mathcore Index Fest. You played ZBR Fest. You've been going on tours and stuff like that. What's the best shows you guys have played since the last time that we talked?
Derek, what you got first? I think I know mine.
We played in Des Moines in October, and that was a show that I was not expecting to be as good as it was.
That was
Why is
pretty
that?
rad.
Yeah, and that was like really killer.
Just
I think
because it's
just
kind of like out in the middle of nowhere, I guess.
yeah, that, and then like we've never played there before, and then it was like a late night show, and I'm always very skeptical of those. Like it was like two shows that night, and we were the later one.
Oh, what the
Um,
hell? That's so weird.
Yeah, so it started like they had a show start at like 6 to 9 and 9 to midnight or something like that.
What? That's so
Yeah.
odd. Like in the same room or like,
Yeah,
Yeah, same.
What?
yeah.
I can't remember. I think it might have been the same sound guy too.
I think you're right. I think it was.
That's so it's just one show that starts at 6 and ends at midnight then basically.
Essentially, but I think you have to pay cover for the second one.
That's so
Like,
weird. What was
yeah.
the first show? Was it like along y'all's lines or like
It was more like indie rock, kind of like the band that was on when we showed up for Load In. It sounded like, I don't know, like kind of fiddler, kind of like just rock and roll, kind of alternative.
That's weird.
Is in there.
Yeah, I would have
Yeah,
a really
like
bad vibe too. Like I would be like, oh shit, this is not gonna be well. This is not gonna go. But I guess it went well then.
Yeah, it definitely switched. I think that, like the bands that we were playing with definitely fit with us much more than the earlier show.
Right.
Um,
Well,
yeah,
like a
just-
crowd came out and stuff still then.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Like I don't think anyone from the first show stayed around.
That's so
But
weird.
yeah, so it was weird walking into that and being and like hearing that first band and being like, what is going on? But honestly, like,
Yeah.
I mean, we played a few shows since we last talked that have been like some of our favorites. I think since all of my favorite shows from this band have been since we last talked.
Okay.
But that's definitely like pretty high up there. That was a fun night.
I really liked PDM. We played in Missouri. That
PDM.
one live spot. That was pretty cool. We ended up playing there
It's in
for 2
Columbia, I think.
Columbia, that's right.
Yeah.
That's where it was.
Oh, is that like the name of the venue, PDM?
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
this
Yeah.
DIY spot. We played there one night on a weekend, and then we had some weird stuff happen with the show. We were supposed to play the next day, so we were like, "Yeah, you know what? That's a little sketchy. Let's drop." And then were very nice to let us play the next night too.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was really cool scene turnout. There's a bunch of people coming in for like the local bands, and there was a really cool noise project we played with that did what was it? It was like NASCAR videos on the screen or something. Or dirt
Yeah, I
bike.
What
forgot
the
about that.
fuck?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
set was
that was
really
that was
cool.
really cool.
Like, were they in time with the music or something, or is it just they're just
I think it
playing
was
some racing?
Yeah, I don't think it was in time with the music.
That's hilarious. What the fuck? Like a big projector projecting it on the wall behind them or something, or
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and, like,
crazy.
I can't remember the name of the band, but they were really cool. PDM, and then our release show was really rad. That was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah! I
That
saw
was
the
fun.
lineup for that. Get Blind Equation on board and stuff.
Yeah,
yeah,
they're buddies.
yeah. That also was a really fun show. That's at one of our favorite like DIY spots in the city in Chicago.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was, and like we got to pick a bunch of bands that we really wanted to play with. And all of them said yes. So we got it was very, very honoring that they
Yeah.
that they wanted to play with us. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Nice. So what's the worst show you guys have played?
I feel like we might have the same one, but so I'm gonna let Andy go first.
Was it Farewell?
Wait, what was
it
Farewell? Oh,
Isn't that a
no.
spot in, like Kansas City or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. There was just like that was just really slow night. That's all I'm thinking about. But what do you
The Minneapolis show, like 2 days after that one.
Oh yeah. That was weird.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know how
it
much you
wasn't-
want to detail with that one.
yeah, it wasn't like a bad show. We were on a different show and it got dropped, and then, or I don't remember what happened, and so we were like trying to find something anywhere in Wisconsin or Minneapolis, which is where our original show was.
That was a really hard tour to book too, right?
Yeah, that was insane. For whatever reason, like pretty much every show on that run dropped at one point, and then we had to scatter
Damn.
and find. Yeah, it was like one of those. Definitely the hardest tour I've ever booked. But yeah, so the promoter for that show that we were originally doing had a different show going on that night, and was like, "Hey, you can hop on this one." And we're like, "Okay, cool." So we did, because we wanted a show. We did not fit on it at all. I think it was like
There was a noise band that had mostly a stage setup of lamps and retro TVs. They were playing Dinosaur on one of the little tiny TVs during their set. I thought that was pretty cool.
oh, that was, they were pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
I
it was a
think-
lot of like 20-year-old like college kids playing like very poppy based music.
Hmm.
Sort of like singer-songwriter-y. And there was like an all-white funk band. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, and they had informed us that they left their bass player in Wisconsin. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And so it was just like a really strange night because of that. It was cool. Like we got to meet some cool people and stuff.
Did you like sell merch and stuff like that, or were people
Yeah,
not
so
vibing
it wasn't
with
like,
it?
yeah, it wasn't like it was the worst show. It was, yeah, I shouldn't say worst, weird, one of the weirdest.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, was a very like, yeah, it was also at like some like kind of like nicer venue, like sort of
I
like
thought-
swanky kind of bar.
I thought Nashville when I walked in there for some reason.
Yeah, like downtown Nashville.
I was like, okay. It's a cool
Like
spot.
they probably have a lot of blues bands or all white funk bands playing. It was kind of the vibe.
Okay.
So they didn't kick us off though, so that was kind of surprising.
Nice. Well, you guys have future plans for tours and stuff? I saw you announce something for March, right?
Yeah, we're headed out east for March.
Nice.
So like Detroit, Toronto, Albany, Buffalo, like Philadelphia, I think. It's like just kind of wherever. I think that's where we're going. Yeah, it's on our Instagram page.
Yeah.
I got you. You're going so many places you don't even know where you're headed this time. Gotcha.
I don't think that's it. I think I'm forgetful.
Probably working on multiple runs right now, and you're getting them crossed. I got you. Do
Yeah,
you
you
have
know how it is.
more plans throughout the rest of the year?
Yeah, that's gonna be our biggest one, I think. I think we pretty much got stuff planned through the summer, and then we'll start talking about music.
Okay.
Specifically writing music, I guess I
Nice.
should say. I think that's kind of where we're at right now.
So you don't have the next one done yet, and you're not going to be like going and recording in a couple.
We'll see. I don't know. I mean, it's not done right now.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, because you turned around this one so quickly, I was wondering.
Yeah. It's funny
Next
because
one
like to
done.
us, or to me anyway, it didn't feel quick at all. Like, because some of the songs started over a year ago. So for it to be out now feels like kind of, I don't know, it feels like the same amount of time as the one before. Maybe, I don't know. But it was, I mean, like we sat on the last album for a year
Right.
and we didn't really write or do anything until it came out. And then I think even a couple months after that, we were still kind of like, I don't think we were writing or anything. And then that fall, I think, is when things started picking up a little bit. So I mean, like the whole, like from the time I showed demos to the band to the time we recorded was probably like 7 months, 7 or 8 months. So it felt kind of like normal. I think it was just because we waited on the last one so long. Maybe, I don't know.
I feel like 7 months is pretty fast, honestly. But hey, I mean, it came out great, so who cares, right?
Oh, thank you.
So let's see here. You guys have shirts, long sleeves on lowerautomation.bandcamp.com. You also got vinyl on Zegma Beach at zbrusa.com. Any other like weird merch places? Like, do you have a big cartel or anything like that?
We don't, but there's also like the international store for Zegma Beach. I think it's just ZegmaBeachRecords.com.
Right.
If you
I
go to
think
their
there's a
Bandcamp-
link from the zbrusa.com
from
too.
the
I
USA
think
one.
those two.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the only other one we have.
Do they have like different variants and stuff, or it's the same variant, right?
Yeah, no, we just did the one variant. They just do shipping like worldwide.
Oh,
The USA
okay,
one just
gotcha.
does
Yeah, yeah.
US, yeah.
So I guess let's wrap this up with your album of the year for last year.
Derek, you go first.
I'll go first. So I think mine is an EP called Dead Time by White Suns. I think would be my favorite one of the year.
Don't think I've heard of them before.
They're like I guess like a noise band. But they have like a very hardcore influence that I think is really cool. Where it's not just like screeching and screaming, like it's not noise where like, hey, I'm gonna run my voice through a bunch of distortion pedals and like, scream. It has more of that like sort of loose improvised feel, but then there's that it can't totally be that because there's like stops and starts and things that are happening at this, you know what I mean? Like there's things that happen at the same time.
Okay.
On different instruments. Their last album, I think, was my album of the year before. But yeah, just like
okay.
super, super engaging. And like very harsh in a good way. And it's also only 4 songs, so it's like really easy to listen to. Which I'm all about.
I feel like you need to send me that. That sounds interesting.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Andy, what about you? What's your album of the year?
I think it was in the past year, the newer Show Me the Body record.
Okay. I am pretty sure that was last year, yeah.
I think it was.
Last year? Not this year?
I
Or
think.
2022, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it was 2022.
Within the past year. Yeah.
Either way, even if it was this year, like it's your album of the year. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I like that one.
they've been blowing up like crazy since that.
Yeah, they're gonna be playing the Metro sometime in the next few months. I'm thinking about coughing up the bones to go see them. But yeah, no, like hardcore with like a super distorted banjo. Super cool stuff. I really like their songwriting. I like the visceral stuff behind bands. I like came up with the D beat and like the hardcore punk that doesn't give a lot of a fuck about much except for like just sounding like, you know, something's gonna break. So that's probably my favorite release of past year.
Alrighty.
What about you, Chris?
That's
Yeah, super.
hard. Yeah, I don't know. So I decided to not put out a list because I didn't really have time to like actually like dig back and check out everything I get. Off the top of my head, the Chat Pile release was sick. Honestly, if Massanera put out their album last year instead of like January or whatever, that might be it. They did some shit. Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Last year.
No, they did it in like early January.
Okay, I can't remember. Yeah, it
I'm
was
pretty
really
sure.
cool though.
But yeah, I guess Chat Pile or Black Matter Device is dope. Dat Boys is pretty sick. Yeah, I don't know. That's why I didn't do it a full list because I just wasn't sure what it was. I didn't have time to like go back through everything.
There was so much stuff this year too.
Mhm.
There was. It was crazy. And then I have people that come on here that are like, man, I don't even know what was released last year. And I'm like, brother, like, you need to go like check out my YouTube, all the bands I interviewed. Like, I think there's so much. But yeah, anything else you guys want to say before we head on out?
What number episode is this? You said like 187?
187. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Oh,
Good
thank
for you. This is a cool
congrats
show.
on that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
thank you for having us on.
Oh, thank you for coming on. You're welcome back
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah, thanks very much for having us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And thanks to everyone who's checked out the album and put up with us.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Crashed at your place. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Who crashed your bill? Sorry.
So do you like weird ass noise rock? Well, then go check out Strobe Light Shadowplay, the new album from Lower Automation, was dropped back in November through Zegma Beach Records. You guys are obviously on Facebook, Instagram. I assume you have a YouTube channel and Spotify and stuff. Any links you want to shout out? Feel free to go ahead and shout out.
I guess our main one is our Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Automation.bandcamp.com. And Instagram seems to be the one that we use the most, which is just at Lower Automation.
Mm-hmm.
As for me, drop my channel follow so you always know when I go live. You can also sub to get access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming platforms, as well as get some notes. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. YouTube folks, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, tickle the notification bell, don't forget to subscribe. It's a great way to support me for free. Check out my music, The Sound Ends Creation, at thesoundendscreation.bandcamp.com. Sorry. My next guest is American Standards, who dropped a sick new EP, Dopamine Dealer, back on the 3rd. Join us this Sunday, the 26th, for the live cast. Thanks for being here, y'all. Hope you had a good time.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having us.
Pleasure.
Oh, yeah. And thank you guys for watching and listening.